Dear friend, today we will see the anatomy of larynx. As you know, larynx is an organ of phonation and respiration. It prevents the entry of any substance in the larynx and the trachea or the lower respiratory tract except the air. Okay, so it acts as a watchdog. So it is a watchdog to prevent the substance to enter into the lower respiratory tract here. Now, if you see the extent, this larynx extends from the C3 to C6 vertebra, okay, in the adult, okay, here. While in the children, it extends from the C1 to C4 vertebra. Because in the children, the larynx is short, and after the pubertal growth, it extends up to the C3 to C6 vertebra. And this larynx extends from the upper border of the epiglottis superiorly up to the lower border of the cricoid cartilage inferiorly. Okay, so if you see the here the diagram, this is the I'm drawing the diagram is a sagittal section. This is the thyroid cartilage. Okay, this is the anterior arch of the cricoid cartilage. Here, this is the posterior lamina, posterior broad lamina of the cricoid cartilage. Here, this is the epiglottis, epiglottical cartilage here. And here is the hyoid bone. Okay, here, and this is the retinoid cartilage. Okay, here. So this extends from here, from the upper border of the epiglottis up to the lower border of the cricoid cartilage here. Clear? And the growth of the larynx is equal from the childhood up to the puberty. So the voice of the female and the children are the same, or the high pitch. Okay, while at the pubertal growth here, at the puberty, the growth of the larynx is more in the male than that of the female, and this is due to the appearance of the Adam's apple in the midline. So after the puberty, so the voice or the pitch of the male and the female is different. Clear? So this is the difference occur here. Now, if you see the dimension of the larynx, yeah, dimension of the larynx are vertical dimension. Vertical dimension or the height of the larynx is about 44 millimeter in male. Okay, here, and the 36 millimeter in the female. Okay, here. While the transverse diameter, this is the vertical, okay, here, and the transverse diameter. Transverse diameter is about 43 millimeter in the male, okay, while the 41 millimeter in the female. Okay, this is a transverse diameter. Antero-posterior. If you see antero-posterior diameter is about 36 millimeter in male, while 26 millimeter, the difference of 10 millimeter in the female. Okay, so these are the certain dimension of the larynx. Now, what are the framework of this larynx? This whole of the larynx is made of the cartilage, ligaments, muscles, okay, and the joints. Different cartilage unite to form the different joint here. And the intrinsic membrane, some membranes are there, like cricovocal membrane or the quadrate membrane. Clear? So this whole larynx is made up of different structure, cartilage and the joints, ligaments, membrane, and the muscle. Okay. Now, what are the cartilages? Come on, this first the cartilages. There are total 9 cartilages are here in the larynx. Out of these 9 cartilage, 3 are unpaired cartilage, 3 are unpaired cartilage, okay, and 3 are paired cartilage, okay, 3 are unpaired cartilage and 3 paired. 3 unpaired cartilage are epiglottis, thyroid cartilage, and cricoid cartilage. While 3 are paired cartilage, okay. 3 paired cartilages are, there is arytenoid cartilage and corniculate cartilage and the cuneiform cartilage. Okay, so these are the 3 paired cartilages are here. Okay, here. So these arytenoid, corniculate, cuneiform, paired cartilage, epiglottis, thyroid, and cricoid cartilage are the unpaired cartilage. Clear? Now we'll come one by one each cartilage. Clear? Now what are these cartilages? And out of this here, before going to the most of the cartilages are the hyaline cartilage, except the few cartilage which are elastic fibrocartilage. These elastic fibrocartilage are epiglottis, one, then the corniculate cartilage, cuneiform cartilage, and the apex and the vocal process of the arytenoid cartilage here. Okay, we'll come here. What are the apex? And so these cartilages are the elastic fibrocartilages. Okay, epiglottis, apex, and the vocal process of the arytenoid, corniculate, and cuneiform. Okay, rest of the cartilage, thyroid cartilage, cricoid cartilage, muscular process of the arytenoid cartilage is the hyaline cartilage. Okay, so these are. Now come one by one. First is the epiglottis. Epiglottis is a leaf-like cartilage shape. Okay, it is like this. Upper broad end and the narrow end here, like this. Clear? So this is the here shape of the epiglottis. And this epiglottis has the upper end and the lower end, 2 lateral border and 2 surface, anterior surface and the posterior surface. Okay, upper border here. If you see the upper border from the laryngeal inlet, anterior part of the laryngeal inlet here, upper border. Clear? Here. While the lower end, okay, upper end here, the lower end is connected towards the back of the thyroid cartilage by the thyroepiglottic ligament. Okay, so this is the lower end. It's connected to the thyroid cartilage, posterior to thyroid lamina by the thyroepiglottic ligament. This is the thyroepiglottic ligament. Thyroepiglottic ligament. Okay, here. While come on the anterior surface here, it is lined by the stratified squamous epithelium. Okay, here. And anterior surface is connected in the middle part with the hyoid bone via the hyoepiglottic ligament. This is the hyoepiglottic ligament. Okay, here. So in the middle part, it is connected to the hyoid bone by the hyoepiglottic ligament. Whole anterior surface is covered by the stratified squamous epithelium. That is the non-keratinized here. Okay, here. While superior surface here, so posterior surface. Okay, posterior surface upper part here. It is covered by the again the same stratified squamous epithelium here, the non-keratinized here. The lower part of the posterior surface here. Okay, lower part of the posterior surface here, it is lined by the columnar epithelium, which is the epithelium of the here the respiratory tract. Okay, so this is now. What about the borders and the posterior surface here? Posterior surfaces also have the one tubercle in the midline here, while the posterior surface is concave here. This is posterior surface is concave. Anterior surface again here. Anterior surface here in the upper part, it is connected to the dorsal part of the this tongue. Suppose this is the tongue. Okay, dorsal part of the tongue here, or the posterior part. Okay, dorsal part and the posterior part here. And this is the epiglottis here. So epiglottis on the posterior part of the tongue here in the midline, connected to the median glossoepiglottic fold here. Okay, while on laterally here, it is connected again to the posterior part of the tongue here by the two lateral glossoepiglottic fold here. Okay, so the two area, okay, the sinuses type structure is formed between the lateral glossoepiglottic fold and the median glossoepiglottic. This structure is known as the vallicula. Vallicula. Okay, here. So space or the sinus-like structure is formed here. Clear? So this is epiglottis. Okay, here. Now lateral border. What about the lateral border? Lateral border of the epiglottis gives attachment to the iriepiglotic fold here. So this is the, suppose here from the epiglottis to the arytenoid here. First I line the mucous membrane. Okay, so then you have the clear idea. So this is the mucous membrane, posterior surface lining the thyroid cartilage. Here, posterior surface of the epiglottis, then anterior surface of the epiglottis here and here, and then reflect over the tongue. Okay, so like this tongue. Yeah. Then here same anterior surface here. Then this mucous membrane returns towards the apex of the arytenoid cartilage, then mounts here, and it mounts here and internal to the cricoid cartilage here, and then makes the opening of the trachea again here and here, and at the middle it gives rise to the two fold bounding the vestibular fold and the vocal fold here. Clear? This is the mucous membrane of the, and here this is the iriepiglotic fold. Okay, this iriepiglotic. So this iriepiglotic fold connected to the lateral border of the epiglottis, and this iriepiglotic fold contain the iriepigloticus muscle and thyroepiglotticus muscle. We will see later on. Okay, so here, so lateral border of the epiglottis gives attachment to the iriepiglotic fold, and which contain the thyroepiglotticus muscle and the iriepigloticus muscle. Okay, here. So this is the sagittal section of the larynx, what you are seeing here. Clear? Now, after this, I think this is all about the epiglottic cartilage. Okay, here. Now, after this epiglottic cartilage, come on the thyroid cartilage here. Now, thyroid cartilage here has the two lamina. Okay, here. So, if you diagram from the fresh page, okay. In this model, you are also seen here. This is the epiglottis here. Okay, this is epiglottis, and here on the dorsal side of the tongue, posterior side of the tongue, here in the midline, here in the midline is a median glossoepiglottic fold, and here this is the lateral glossoepiglottic fold. So this space here on the both side of the median glossoepiglottic fold here, this space is now the vallicula. Okay, here. Okay, and this is the hyoid bone. Clear? Now, after this come on the thyroid cartilage. What about the thyroid cartilage? Thyroid cartilage is made up of the two lamina, okay, which is joined in the midline here. So this is the, suppose, okay. So in this fashion, here the two lamina which is joined in the midline here. Okay, so we are seeing the thyroid cartilage from behind. Okay, if you see the side, from the side, look here. This is the anterior border. This is the upper border of the thyroid lamina and the lower. Okay, in this fashion. So this is the one side. So this thyroid cartilage, each lamina has the superior border, inferior border, anterior border, posterior border, outer surface and inner surface. Okay, here the outer surface and the inner surface. So these are the structure in the each thyroid lamina. Okay, and both thyroid lamina unite in the midline to form the Adam's apple. Okay, in the midline here. This thyroid cartilage extends from the C4 to C5 vertebra. Okay, it is extend from the C4 to C5 vertebra first. Clear? And it acts as a shield. Thyroid lamina acts as a shield. Both whole of the thyroid cartilage act as a shield. Inside the shield, there are the other cartilages are placed, like cricoid cartilage and adenoid cartilage, to form the structure of the larynx here. Clear? Now, this thyroid lamina, both thyroid lamina unite at the 90 degree in the male angle, and in the female it is about 120 degree. Okay, 90 degree in male, okay, and 120 degree in the female here. So it is acute angle in the, okay, in the male, 90 degree. Clear? And wide angle 120 degree in the female. Clear? Now, each lamina, I told you, has the quadrilateral, has the upper border, lower border, anterior border, and posterior border. Now, come on the upper border. Upper border here is convex anteriorly, then concave, and ends in the superior horn. Okay, here. Clear? Now, here the upper border gives attachment to the thyrohyoid membrane. Here, this is the hyoid bone. Okay, this thyroid bone, and this upper border gives attachment to the thyrohyoid membrane here. Thyroid membrane, and the posterior end of the thyroid membrane, which is attached to the greater cornu and the superior horn of the thyroid cartilage here. This posterior end of this thyroid membrane is thickened in the form of the ligament, and this ligament is the thyrohyoid ligament here. Okay, so this is the superior border. Clear? While the inferior border is straight in the anterior part, while the posteriorly it is concave. Okay, here it is concave here. So this inferior border, and this inferior border gives attachment to the, now before that here, just this is the cricoid cartilage. Okay. This is the cricoid cartilage here, and this lower border gives attachment to the cricothyroid muscle here. Okay, so this is the cricothyroid muscle. It starts from the cricoid cartilage, and whole of the lower border, that is straight border and the concave part posterior side here, gives attachment to the cricothyroid muscle. Okay, so this is the cricothyroid muscle. And this cricothyroid muscle has the two parts, anterior straight part and the posterior oblique part. Clear? Yeah. So lower border, then the anterior border. Anterior border of the both lamina unite in the midline. Okay, here to form the whole thyroid cartilage. And I told you this anterior border is more prominent in the male than that of the female. Posterior surface of the anterior border. This is the here midline, both unite. Now the posterior surface of the anterior border and the lamina give rise to the certain structure here, attachment of certain structure. What are these structure? Look here. First structure is here. This is the thyroepiglottic ligament here, which I told you here. Okay, in this diagram here, this is a thyroepiglottic, thyroid to the epiglottis. Okay, so thyroepiglottic ligament first. Okay, below the thyroepiglottic ligament, there is an attachment of the two vestibular ligament on the both side of the midline. Okay, here. So these are the vestibular ligament. Then below the vestibular ligament, there are the two vocal ligaments are here. Okay, so these are the vocal ligament. And now by the side of the vocal ligament, there are the certain muscles, okay, attached. What are these muscles? Just by the side of the vocal ligament, the vocalis muscle here. Okay, so this is vocalis muscle. Then by the side of the vocalis muscle here, there is the thyroarytenoid muscle. Okay, and by the side of the thyroarytenoid muscle here, there is a thyroepiglotticus muscle. Okay, I am applying the red color. Thyroepiglotticus muscle on the both sides, which enter into the, I told you, the epiglottic fold ascends upward. I will draw the diagram, the lateral diagram here. So these are the structure which is attached on the inner surface of the thyroid lamina. Okay, on the both side of the midline here. So first is the thyroepiglottic ligament. Below there is a vestibular ligament. There is a vocal ligament or the vocal fold here. Then by the side of the vocal ligament, vocalis muscle. By the side of the vocalis muscle, thyroarytenoid muscle. And by the side of thyroarytenoid muscle, there is a thyroepiglotticus muscle. Okay, so these are the structure. If I label the diagram here, this is the thyroepiglottic ligament. Okay, here these are the vocal ligament. Okay, sorry, vestibular ligament. These are the vestibular ligament. Below there is a vocal ligament. Okay, here by the side of the vocal ligament here, this structure, this is the vocalis muscle. Then by the side of the vocalis muscle here, this is the thyroarytenoid muscle. Okay, and by the side of the thyroid muscle, there is thyroepiglottic muscle. Thyroepiglotticus muscle. Okay, so these are the structure which is attached on the inner surface of the lamina. What about the outer surface here? Outer surface here of the thyroid lamina has a one oblique line. Okay, here, this oblique line. Now this oblique line gives attachment to certain structure upside down here. Here is superior to inferior. If you see here, the superiorly here, the oblique line gives attachment to the thyroid muscle here. Okay, here. So this is the thyroid muscle. Okay, below the thyroid muscle here, it gives attachment insertion to the sternothyroid muscle. Okay, so this is the sternothyroid muscle here. Here, with the oblique line. Okay, now below the oblique line, now here, another muscle here, this is the thyroid part of the, okay, inferior constrictor muscle. So thyropharyngeus. Okay, this is the thyropharyngeus part, and this thyropharyngeal part extend towards the lamina, okay, of the cricoid cartilage, and this is the cricopharyngeus part here. So this whole muscle here, this is the inferior constrictor muscle. Okay, so this is the thyropharyngeus pharyngeus muscle, part of the inferior constrictor muscle here. Clear? So this is the lateral surface of the thyroid lamina, or the outer surface of the thyroid lamina. And what about the posterior border here? This posterior border gives rise to the three muscles. Okay, combination of the three muscle here, which is here. Just if I draw that is brown color, this posterior border gives rise to the here the salpingopharyngeus muscle, stylopharyngeus muscle, and the palatopharyngeus muscle. Okay, you know the three vertical muscles of the pharynx here. Okay, so these three muscles combinedly joined here at the posterior border of the thyroid lamina. Clear? So this is these three muscle. While if you see the posterior border extends superiorly and the inferiorly here. Okay, here. So posterior border here extends superiorly, the superior horn, and superior horn is connected to the greater cornu of the hyoid bone through the thyrohyoid ligament. So this is the thyrohyoid ligament. Thyrohyoid ligament here. While the lower horn, inferior horn, or the lower horn is connected to the lamina of the cricoid cartilage, or at the junction of the arch and the lamina of the cricoid cartilage here, it makes a joint, which is known as the cricothyroid joint here, the synovial joint. So the lower horn, or the inferior horn, is connected to the cricoid cartilage to form the synovial cricothyroid joint here. Okay, so this cricothyroid joint is formed here. Clear? So this is all about the thyroid cartilage. Clear? After the thyroid cartilage come on the cricoid cartilage. Clear? And this cricoid cartilage is a signet shaped ring. Okay, signet shaped ring means this thyroid cartilage has the anterior arch, small anterior, suppose here. Now, I'm just drawing the diagram. Okay, like this. This is the anterior arch, okay, and the posterior lamina, okay, here. So broad posterior lamina and the narrow anterior arch. So you can see here the broad posterior lamina here posteriorly, and the arch is anteriorly is narrow one. Okay, here. So this also known as that this is act as a foundation stone of the this larynx, because over this cricoid cartilage is an articulation of the arytenoid cartilage and the thyroid cartilage here. So this acts as a stone where the other cartilages articulate and makes the whole structure of the larynx. Clear? So what about the part of this cricoid cartilage? Just you see here. If you draw the diagram on the lateral side, the cut section here, after removing suppose you remove this one lamina, okay, here. So what would be the diagram here? So look here. Suppose this is here, okay, thyroid cartilage, clear, and here is the cricoid cartilage, okay, here, and this is the epiglottis, okay, here, and here is the articulation of the arytenoid cartilage, okay, arytenoid cartilage articulated with the lamina of the this posterior lamina of the cricoid cartilage here, clear? And here this is the joint of the cricothyroid, cricothyroid joint here. Clear? Now, what are the part? Look here. First come the arch, anterior arch. This anterior arch has the upper border and the lower border, outer surface and the inner surface. Okay, here. So, if you see the ring, suppose this is the ring here. Clear? This is the ring. Clear? So, it is the upper border and the lower border, outer surface and the inner surface. Clear? Now, come on the upper border. Upper border here, this upper border is a, if you see, it is a cross border. Okay, it is a slanting. Clear? So suppose this is here like this. Okay, slanting. So this upper border here has the outer lip and the inner lip. Now, what are the attachment of the outer lip and the inner lip? Clear? Outer lip here, outer lip give rise to the one muscle. It is a lateral cricoarytenoid muscle here. Okay, here, which is passes here. Suppose, look here, this here, black color here. This is here. Okay, so this is the attachment of the lateral cricoarytenoid muscle here. Okay, here. So this passes towards the muscular process. This is the muscular process. Okay, so it inside of the lateral surface of the muscular process of the arytenoid cartilage. Clear? So this is here the lateral cricoarytenoid, which is attached at the outer lip. Lateral cricoarytenoid muscle. Okay, while the inner lip gives rise to the a membrane or the vocal membrane. Okay, here. Inner lip. Okay, so this is here. Just I draw the pink color. This is. Okay, this is here. This sky blue color. This is the vocal membrane. Okay, this is attached to the inner lip of the cricoid cartilage, and this vocal membrane ascends upward and attached to the vocal process of the arytenoid cartilage posteriorly. Anteriorly, it is attached to the thyroid lamina posteriorly. Okay, in the form of the vocal ligament. So the upper free end of the vocal membrane is known as the vocal ligament here. So this is the vocal ligament. Okay, here, and anteriorly here, this is attached to the conus elasticus. Conus elasticus is a this ligament which attaches anterior arch. Okay, here, and the lower border of the thyroid cartilage. This is the conus elasticus here. Okay, so this is the conus elasticus. Yeah. So this vocal membrane continue or merges with the conus elasticus here anteriorly. Okay, and attached to the posterior to the thyroid lamina. So this is the upper border of the arch, anterior arch of the cricoid cartilage here. Okay, now what about the lower border? Lower border here gives attachment to the fibrous tissue, fibrous membrane for the first ring of the trachea. Okay, suppose this is the tracheal ring, first tracheal ring here. So lower border is gives attachment to the fibrous membrane. Okay, here. So this is the cricotracheal ligament here. Cricotracheal ligament. Okay, here. So this is the lower border. Okay, now the outer surface. Outer surface here gives attachment to the cricothyroid muscle here. Okay, so outer surface here. I think this is here. Anteriorly, it gives us to the cricothyroid muscle here. Okay, while posteriorly it gives rise to the cricopharyngeus part of the inferior constrictor. So this is the cricopharyngeus part here. Cricopharyngeus part of inferior constrictor, while this is the cricothyroid muscle. Cricothyroid muscle. So outer surface here, okay, gives attachment to these muscles. Okay, here the inner surface is bounded by the mucous membrane here. Okay, and this mucous membrane is the columnar epithelium, ciliated columnar epithelium of the this respiratory tract. Further here, if you see, these are the cartilages, corniculate cartilage. And here, I am going to complete the diagram. And this is the mucous membrane. Okay, so this is the cricoid cartilage. We have discussed the arch. Okay, here the superior border, inferior border of the arch, outer surface and the inner surface of the arch. Okay, now what about the lamina? Okay, lamina. Now this lamina, if you see the lamina, so suppose this lamina has a wider part like this. This is the lamina. Okay, and this lamina has the upper border and the lower border. Okay, posterior surface and the anterior surface. Clear? Upper border. What about the upper border? Upper border on the both side is convex here, and it articulates with the arytenoid cartilage. Okay, it articulates with the arytenoid cartilage like this. Okay, so it makes a joint, cricoarytenoid joint here. Okay, so it makes a joint, cricoarytenoid joint here, upper border. While the lower border gives rise to the attachment of the trachealis muscle here. Okay, posteriorly, you know the tracheal rings are deficient posteriorly. So posteriorly it gives rise to the trachealis muscle here. So this is the trachealis muscle. So lower border of the lamina gives rise to the trachealis muscle here. Okay, here. Now, anterior surface, if you see the anterior surface is covered by the mucous membrane, which is lined by the columnar epithelium, ciliated columnar epithelium of the respiratory tract here. Posterior surface has the midline, there is a one ridge here. And this ridge here divide the posterior surface into two depressed area. Okay, so these are two depressed area. This is a midline ridge, and this midline ridge gives rise to the attachment of the ligament of longitudinal ligament of the esophagus, or we can say the tendon of the esophagus, which is formed by the longitudinal muscle of the esophagus. Okay, so this is the ligament. Okay, here for the tendon of the esophagus here. So this is the tendon of esophagus here. Tendon of esophagus. Clear here. While the both area, depressed area, give us the attachment of the, or the origin of the here, the posterior cricoarytenoid muscle here. This is the posterior cricoarytenoid muscle. Okay, so this is the posterior cricoarytenoid muscle. Okay, so the posterior surface gives us to two muscle, posterior cricoarytenoid muscle. Clear? So I think this is all about the cricoid cartilage here. Clear? And these cricoarytenoid muscle attached to the muscular process here. I will come later on the muscles, what are the different muscle here. So this posterior cricoarytenoid muscle comes and attached to the muscular process, posterior surface of the muscular process of the arytenoid cartilage here. Clear? So this is the cricoid cartilage. Now we will discuss the next cartilage, that is the arytenoid cartilage. Arytenoid cartilage is one of the paired cartilage which is in a pyramidal in shape, okay, which is the apex, one base, two process, muscular process and the vocal process here, and the three surfaces, posterior surface, the anterolateral surface and the medial surface. Okay, now these are the part of the arytenoid cartilage. Now just draw the diagram. Look here. Now, just imagine we are seeing the this larynx from the posterior side. Okay, so these are lamina. So, look here. This is the thyroid cartilage. This posterior side. Here is the lamina of the cricoid cartilage. Okay, cricoid cartilage. Here is the arytenoid cartilage. Okay, so this is the apex, this is the muscular process, these are the here vocal process, inferior surface. Okay, come one by one. This is the apex. Apex is situated superiorly here, and this apex articulate with the two cartilage. One is the corniculate cartilage, and this corniculate cartilage articulate with the cuneiform cartilage here. Okay, so this is the corniculate cartilage here. Okay, and this is the cuneiform cartilage articulate with the corniculate. So, and this apex give rise to the attachment of the oblique arytenoideus muscle. Oblique arytenoid muscle arises from the muscular process. Okay, posterior surface of the muscular process of the one arytenoid cartilage and crosses posteriorly and ascends upward towards the apex of the opposite arytenoid cartilage like this. Okay. So this is the here the oblique arytenoideus muscle. Okay, here. This is here. So they crosses like a X-like structure. Okay, like this. And from the apex here, this is the, look here, this is the epiglottis. Here. Okay, so from the apex of this arytenoid cartilage, then another muscle start goes upward here and attaches at the lateral border of the epiglottis. And this is the iriepigloticus muscle. Okay, here. This is the iriepigloticus muscle. From the arytenoid cartilage to the epiglottis. Okay, so apex gives rise to the insertion of the oblique arytenoid muscle and the origin of the iriepigloticus muscle. So this is the here. Iriepigloticus muscle. This is the oblique arytenoid. Oblique arytenoideus muscle. Okay, here. So now this is apex. Base. Base articulate with the superior surface or the superior border at the corner of the lamina of the cricoid cartilage here. So it makes a cricoarytenoid joint. This is a synovial joint. Okay, and this synovial joint gives rise to the gliding movement. Okay, and rotatory movement for the arytenoid cartilage. So arytenoid cartilage either slip or glide here laterally or the outside, and also rotate. Okay, medial lateral rotation occur. Clear? So this is here. So this joint is formed. Synovial joint is formed. Okay, so base here. Now the process. Okay, process is the muscular process here, and the vocal process. Muscular process here give rise to the posterior side here. Okay, posteriorly it gives rise to the posterior cricoarytenoid muscle. Okay, so on the posterior side, on the surface here of the muscular process, there is a posterior cricoarytenoid muscle. Like this. Okay, here. While anteriorly, it gives rise to the insertion of the lateral cricoarytenoid muscle. And we have seen here, this is the lateral cricoarytenoid muscle. So both muscles attach at the muscular process. One attached on the lateral side of the muscular process, one attached on the most posterior side of the muscular process of the arytenoid cartilage. Clear? So this is the muscular process here. Clear? Now, what about the surfaces? Surfaces come on the posterior surface first. Posterior surface of the both arytenoid give rise to the attachment of the transverse arytenoid muscle here. Okay, this is a transverse arytenoid muscle attached on the posterior surface of the both, and this is the only unpaired muscle of the here, the larynx, which is attached on the posterior surface of the arytenoid cartilage. Okay, here, deep to the this oblique arytenoid. First, the transverse arytenoid muscle are attached here. Above there is a oblique arytenoid muscle crosses on the posterior surface of this transverse arytenoid muscle. Okay, so this is the transverse arytenoid muscle. Transverse arytenoideus muscle. Okay, yeah. So this is okay. So this is the posterior surface. Now come on the anterolateral surface. What about the anterolateral surface? Anterolateral surface here gives attachment to the here on the lateral anterolateral side here. It gives attachment to the vocal membrane or the cricovocal membrane. We have seen here. I think this is. This one, okay, this blue one here, okay, here. This is the anterolateral surface. What we are seeing, this is anterolateral surface. So this cricovocal membrane is attached at the anterolateral surface here, okay, here, up to the vocal process here, okay, up to the vocal process here, okay. So if you see here, I draw the diagram, a fresh diagram, a small diagram here. suppose this is the cricoid cartilage. This is the vocal process, apex, muscular process, here, like this. Okay, so here and this is the thyroid cartilage. Okay, so now this is the attachment of the cricovocal membrane, like this. Okay, so this is the cricovocal membrane. This is attached on the anterolateral surface here, up to the vocal process of the arrhythmia. Clear? At the vocal process here, okay, on the lateral surface, on the vocal process here, it gives rise to the vocalis muscle. At the this vocal process here, it gives rise to the vocalis muscle here, okay, which is inside the vocal ligament, free margin of the cricovocal membrane or the vocal ligament. This is the vocalis muscle attached on the vocal process and the lateral surface here. Clear? And remaining of the lateral surface here and above the vocal ligament or the vocalis muscle, here there is a vestibular ligament. Okay, and then green color. Okay, suppose here. This is the vestibular ligament. Okay, green color. And the remaining of the lateral surface here, it gives to the quadrate membrane. Okay, here. This quadrate membrane here. Okay, suppose this is the epiglottis. Okay, and this quadrate membrane attached at the lateral border of the epiglottis. Okay, so anterolateral surface here further upward above the vocal process here, it gives us to the quadrate membrane. Lateral to the vocalis muscle here, on the lateral surface here, this surface also gives rise to the insertion of the, yes here, pink color, insertion of the thyroarytenoid muscle. This is a thyroarytenoid muscle. Okay, here, on the further lateral surface. Clear? So these are the muscles which are attached on the anterolateral surface, certain muscles and the ligament. Ligament, the vocal ligament attaches the vocal process. Just lateral to the vocal process, the vocalis muscle. And just further lateral to the vocalis muscle is the insertion of thyroarytenoid muscle. And lateral surface here gives rise to the quadrate membrane. And further here this surface, anterolateral surface, gives rise to the cricovocal membrane. And you know, this quadrate membrane, the lower end of the quadrate membrane is thickened to known as the vestibular ligament. Okay, here. So this quadrate membrane is attached at the anterolateral surface of the this arytenoid cartilage, ascends upward, attached at the lateral border of the epiglottis to form the iriepiglotic fold. So this forms the iriepiglotic fold. And inside the iriepiglotic fold, there will be the iriepigloticus muscle. We will just come later on what are the muscles. Okay, and free margin of this quadrate membrane is known as the vestibular ligament. Okay, yeah. So this vestibular ligament again attaches to the anterolateral surface, slightly above the attachment of this vocal ligament and the vocalis muscle. Okay, so this is how the anterolateral surface is related. Now the medial surface. Medial surface is covered by the mucous membrane. Okay, here, and mucous membrane is lined by the columnar epithelium. Okay, here, the ciliated columnar epithelium. Clear? So this is here. Now come on the, we have seen the muscular process already here. Muscular process gives rise to the two muscle. One is the posterior side, one is the anterior side. Anteriorly, here it gives attachment to the lateral cricoarytenoid muscle, while posterior surface of the lateral, this muscular process gives insertion to the posterior cricoarytenoid muscle. Clear here? Now come on the Vocal process, we have seen the vocal process gives rise to the attachment of the vocal ligament and vocalis muscle. Okay, here. One vocal ligament and vocalis muscle, and vocal ligament is here, is nothing, it is a upper free margin of the cricovocal membrane which becomes thicker, and the vocal ligament. And inside the vocal ligament, there is the vocalis muscle. Clear? These are the part of the arytenoid cartilage. Okay, so these are the part. We have seen the apex and the base. We have seen the muscular process, the vocal process, the anterolateral surface, the posterior surface, and the medial surface. Clear? Now, after this, there are the two another small cartilages are there. There are the here the corniculate cartilage and the cuneiform cartilage in here, which articulate. The corniculate cartilage articulate here with the apex of the arytenoid cartilage, and corniculate cartilage articulate with the cuneiform cartilage, and they are situated at right angle to each other here. And these are very small cartilage which are present in the fold, the epiglottic fold. And due to the presence of these cartilage, the epiglottic fold becomes straight. Okay, here. So these both cartilage act as a nodule. Okay, nodule, so which epiglottic fold becomes straight here or the upright. So these are the two small cartilages. Clear here? Now, after this, come on the muscles. What are the muscles of the larynx, which are at a different area? So we have seen now. Now again we will draw a fresh diagram, so in which we will see all the muscles. Okay. Now two diagram I will draw. First is this sagittal view. Clear? So suppose this is the here thyroid cartilage. Here the arch of cricoid cartilage. This is the lamina of the cricoid cartilage here. And here is the arytenoid cartilage. Okay, here, and this is the epiglottis. Clear? Here, and this is the mucous membrane here. Okay, green color. This is the lining, epithelium. Here, this is the opening of the larynx, lower opening, and here, and these are the two fold, vocal fold, and the vestibular fold. Okay. Now, what are the muscle? If you see here, in this diagram, we can show the 2 or 3 muscle. Okay. Here, one is this is the thyroepiglotticus muscle. It is here. That is the lateral border of the epiglottis and posterior surface of the lamina of the thyroid cartilage. So this is the here the thyroepiglottic. And eriepiglottica from a retinoid cartilage here, from the apex here towards the again here. So the two muscles we have shown here, epiglotticus muscle and the thyroepiglotticus muscle. Okay, so two muscles are here. So just label here. This is the epiglotticus. Okay, this is the thyroepiglotticus. Thyroepiglotticus. Okay, two muscles are here. Okay, other muscle here. Now in this diagram, I already shown you here. Two muscles on the posterior side here, or the 3 muscle here. One is the posterior cricoarytenoid muscle, which arises from the posterior surface of the lamina of the thyroid, this cricoid cartilage here a small depression is on the middle, on both sides of the midline, ascends upward and attaches at the muscular process, on the posterior surface of the muscular process here. Okay, here the both side here. Okay, and this muscle here have the upper border and the lower border. Upper border is almost horizontal, while the lower border is vertical. Okay, here, or oblique here. Clear? So these are the two borders. So this is the posterior cricoarytenoid muscle. We have here, this is the transverse arytenoideus muscle. Okay, so transverse arytenoideus muscle here, which attaches at the posterior surface of the one arytenoid and crosses in the midline and attaches in the posterior surface of the opposite arytenoid cartilage here. So this is the transverse arytenoideus muscle, or the inter-arytenoid muscle we can say. Okay, this is the oblique arytenoid muscle. Oblique arytenoid muscle arises from the posterior surface of the muscular process of the one arytenoid cartilage, crosses in the midline and attach on the apex of the arytenoid cartilage of the opposite side. Okay, so this is the oblique arytenoid. So both oblique arytenoid muscle crosses in the midline like a X-like structure posterior to the transverse arytenoid muscle. And then from the apex of the arytenoid muscle, arytenoid cartilage here, I told you this apex of the arytenoid cartilage here, the epiglotticus muscle arises and insert on the attach of the border of the lateral border of the here the epiglottis. Okay, so epiglotticus muscle. So these are the muscle certain. And now here another muscle here, just draw a diagram on the lateral side. Suppose this is the here the thyroid cartilage. This is the cricoid cartilage. Okay, here, and the two muscle. Again, here we will see one muscle is the cricothyroid muscle. Cricothyroid muscle arises from the lateral surface of the cricoid cartilage here, like this, and fiber ascends upward and obliquely here, and insert on the lower border of the thyroid cartilage here. Okay, here. So this is a cricothyroid muscle. Okay. Then the lateral cricoarytenoid muscle here. Lateral cricoarytenoid muscle insert here. Suppose this is the cricoid cartilage. Okay. Here is the arytenoid. Cartilage here, and this lateral cricoarytenoid muscle arises from the here outer lip of the upper border of the cricoid cartilage here, like this. Here, outer lip here, inner lip gives rise to the vocal membrane. Okay, here, or the cricovocal membrane, while this outer lip gives rise to the origin of the lateral cricoarytenoid muscle and insert on the muscular process. Okay, lateral surface of the muscular process of the arytenoid cartilage here. Okay, so this is the lateral cricoarytenoid muscle. Just label the diagram. Lateral cricoarytenoid muscle, and this was the here the cricothyroid muscle. Cricothyroid muscle. Okay, so these are the muscles, okay, which are here attached to the different cartilage of the larynx here. Clear? So I think this is all about the muscle, and all the muscles are supplied by the recurrent laryngeal nerve except this cricothyroid muscle, and this cricothyroid muscle is supplied by the external laryngeal nerve, which is a branch of the superior laryngeal nerve. Okay, here. So except this cricothyroid muscle, all the muscle, either the thyroepiglotticus or epiglotticus muscle or the lateral cricoarytenoid muscle, or either here the posterior cricoarytenoid muscle or transverse arytenoid muscle or the oblique arytenoideus muscle here, these all muscles are supplied by the recurrent laryngeal nerve. Okay, two muscles are here, here. These are the vocalis muscle here. In the vocal fold is the vocalis muscle. Okay, and the thyroarytenoideus muscle here. Lateral to the vocalis muscle, there is a thyroarytenoid muscle here, like this. Okay, here. So this is which is attached on the lamina of the thyroid cartilage, lateral to the vocalis muscle. I shown you here in the figure, in this figure here. Okay, here. This is the vocal ligament, lateral to the vocal ligament, vocalis muscle, lateral to the vocalis muscle, the thyroarytenoideus muscle. Okay, so the vocalis muscle and thyroid muscle attach at the lamina of the thyroid cartilage anteriorly and goes posteriorly and attach on the vocal process. Okay, here of the arytenoid cartilage. One is vocal, one is the apex of the vocal process, one is just lateral to the vocal process here. Okay, so these are the two another muscle of the larynx. One is the vocalis and the one is the thyroarytenoideus muscle. Okay, so this is all about the muscle here. Now next lecture we will see the cavity of the larynx and the movements of the larynx.